Okay. Good day, everyone. Shadowita, one angry pagan here. We're going to have a look at today's a clip from Sky News. Sophie Ridge on Sunday. I cannot say just how much I'm pissed off with the media and how they're treating union representatives when they come on. This is disgusting. Check this shit out.
Strikes next week. What's the impact going to be?
Once again, you see my ugly mug? I put the volume up so you guys can hear it. Please like, subscribe, comment. Put comments in. Let me know what you guys think. But yeah, this really pissed me off.
Well, I think it's a real shame that we're having to call strike action again because the government's offer, which was 5% and £1,500, was nothing to that. Began to even restore the pay erosion and in fact would have led to another real terms pay cut. So unfortunately we've had to call for another 3 days of strike action, and I'm afraid that there will be some disruption in elective and outpatient care for patients, which I don't think anyone in this country can afford. So I don't understand why the government won't come back to the table and won't put a credible offer to the table.
I want to talk about what a credible offer would look like in a moment, but just to sort of talk in a minute about the impact on patients. We're looking at some of the hospital plans for the strikes, and you often see statements like this one from King's College Hospital in London. To help us safely manage the impact of the strikes, we've taken the decision to postpone the vast majority of non-urgent appointments and procedures. Non-urgent makes it sound not so bad, but these people might be waiting months, years even for procedures. Would you like to apologise to them?
Fucking what? Fucking what? Does the union want to apologise for trying to make the government give them the right pay and standards of working standards? Really? Sophie Ridge can go fuck herself.
Well, I think you make a really good point there in that when hospital leaders say non-urgent, non-urgent might be something like non-cancer, but it's still really important to each individual patient who has been waiting.
So would you apologise to them?
Fuck off!
For a really long time.
This bullshit of will you apologise? How about the government fucking apologises for screwing all this shit up in the first place? The reason why there are strikes is because the government have fucked all this up in the NHS. This conservative government needs to apologise, not the fucking unions.
I think what's really important is that the government has failed for over a decade now to produce a credible workforce plan that's going to be able to address outpatient waiting times. And we've seen over the last 10 years, waiting times for appointments go up and up and up. It's the government's responsibility to fund and resource a healthcare system that works for everyone in this country.
I think a lot of people would agree with that, including people who are being impacted by these strikes. But why don't you just apologise to the...
Because he's not the one who has to apologise, you fucking twat! This is actually I wouldn't... If the young doctor looks insulted, I'll put the link up to this video. You can watch it yourselves, right? The young lad looks insulted. If I wouldn't be surprised if on the inside he is wanting to fucking have a go at her in the same way I am right now. What a bitch! I know, I'm not fucking holding back. What a fucking bitch! No, the unions don't have to apologise at all.
The people who, as you say, will be impacted by the strikes next week.
The strikes don't have to go ahead, though. The government can come to the table, and the government...
It's not the job of the unions to apologise, for fuck's sake!
Can give us a credible offer.
I promise I will talk to you about a credible pay offer, but would you like to apologise?
Ooh, this No, I'm not going to take bullshit from people. I am waiting on NHS appointments. They've been cancelled over and over and over again. But I don't blame the NHS. Because I'm not a fucking idiot.
Most of the people, or is that not something you're happy to do?
I can understand that there's going to be an immense amount of frustration from patients and from our other colleagues when our doctors go on strike this weekend, and it's going to cause an immense source of frustration for everyone. Myself, my family, we all rely on the NHS as well, and the disruption caused is not pleasant for anyone involved. It's a disaster, and it's a disaster that falls primarily at the feet of government.
Okay.
Fucking right, son. Yes, what he just said then was absolutely correct.
Okay, understood. Now, what is the current state of play then when it comes to talks?
Well, the government actually, they obliterated any sense of good faith in those negotiations when they came out of an offer of 5% and £1,500. This is an offer that's been tabled to all public sector workers, and it just goes to show that Rishi Sunak, who's the man who's leading this decree, doesn't recognise the detail and nuance of each individual industry. He wants to treat us all with a blunt instrument of the same pay offer, and it doesn't recognise the extreme pressures that doctors are under and the extreme pay erosion that doctors have suffered over the last 15 years.
You say that, everyone's got this offer, and you make the argument that actually it's a blunt instrument, that there are specific things about junior doctors. But I guess the counter argument would be, why are you different from other people?
They are doctors.
In the public sector, many of them, including people who work for the NHS, who have accepted the offer on the
Right. Just so people are aware, one of the reasons why a lot of the why this deal has been taken up by many is because they don't have a fucking choice. If the doctors want to keep pushing this, I fully back them.
table.
So doctors have suffered now a 31.7% pay erosion. It's increased because Rishi Sunak failed to deliver on keeping inflation down over the year 22-23. And doctors have suffered for so long because we've been operating on a system of goodwill, working under intense pressures in the NHS, not just during the pandemic, but before. And I think it's really, frankly, wrong for this government to continue offering real terms pay cuts.
Insulting was the word he should have used. I get he's trying to be diplomatic here, but he shouldn't be. I don't think he should be. I think he should be going hell for leather on this, on these panels, on these media appearances. This is sick.
Even during this dispute, which is fundamentally about pay restoration.
You call the strike because the government's failed to make a credible pay offer. I guess the government would say you've also failed to make a credible pay offer as well, if you like. Originally you said you wanted a 35%.
If you like. If you like! Does the insult not stop?
The increase, some would say that is just never going to happen. What would you accept?
So our pay demand is for full pay restoration so that no doctor is worth less now than they were in 2008 because we've sustained 15 years of pay cuts.
So what would that mean then, in simple terms? What pay rise are you looking for?
Something that reverses our pay erosion for the last 15 years.
So what is that then? What is that number? Is that 35%?
Well, it depends, depending on how many years we want to look over it. And that's something that we're interested in discussing with the government in order to make the one-off cost look smaller. But I noticed...
I'm just trying to get to the simple kind of headline here. Forgive...
Fuck's sake. What he was talking about was actually important. And she just cut him off. This is what... I'm not going to back people who are against strikes. I'm not going to side with you. You can fuck off.
Forgive me for being slightly bamboozled by the figures, but what is that roughly? I mean, are you talking 10%? Are you talking 35%? What would that look like?
Well, it depends how many years we want to look over.
Okay, so how many years do you want to look over then? What would it be?
They fucking talk!
Well, we're happy to look over a range of years, but we need to be working with governments to understand where their headspace is and what they think is affordable. Now, I think when they say fair and reasonable, then they're not being fair and reasonable.
Fucking
A real
right.
terms pay cut this year is further pay erosion. It
So
goes
would
no
10%
way.
pay rise be fair and reasonable?
Well, no. Obviously fucking not. Like I said, this is disgusting.
No, it wouldn't.
So you
Because
need
it
more than
wouldn't-
10%.
We would, yes, because our pay erosion has been 31.7% now over 15 years.
So you
Does Sophie Ridge not know how to do fucking mathematics? Like, she sit there nice and fucking pretty with her pay packet. It's not fucking bother to her.
want more than 30% pay rise.
We would need to structure it over a series of years, and that's something that we'd be happy to do. But I noticed in one of your previous interviews, you yourself even described £1 billion as a rounding error.
Yeah, this was talking about the very good attention to detail. I was talking about Labour's £28 billion green investment, for example. So if you were looking at a Labour government, which we could very well be seeing, would you be happy then if they wouldn't give you a 35% pay rise, but they'd be willing to spend £28 billion on green investment? Is that what you're saying?
So our priorities here are to represent doctors and to be able to restore the pay erosion that doctors have seen. Because as you said at the beginning of our interview, waiting times for appointments are astronomically high. It's not fair or reasonable for patients to be waiting 2 years for outpatient elective activity. And we can only fix that issue if we fix the workforce crisis.
On Thursday, you announced that you're reballoting members to extend your strike mandate beyond August. So how long could these strikes go on for?
Well, we'll be reballoting between the 19th of June and the 31st of August. That will give us an extended 6 months mandate, which will look towards March of 2024. And if we need to, we will reballot again during that period to extend our mandate further.
Good.
So it could,
Good.
you're talking about the first deadline being effectively March next year, but that could be extended if you don't get what you want. You're in this for the long haul.
If we don't get what we want, it's not about what they want, it's about what is needed, you fucking arrogant twat! Again, Sophie Ridge is sat there with a nice pay packet. She's not worried about her fucking pay packet. So she gets to be all sarky about this shit and flippant. What a twat.
Our members have given us a clear instruction. They would like us to pursue full pay restoration back to 2008. And that's what we intend to do in our representation of our doctors and our healthcare system.
No matter what the impact is on the NHS and on patient.
It's not down to the unions that there's this much damage, you blonde fucking twat!
The long-term impact on the NHS without a workforce and without doctors as they flee to countries like Canada, Australia and New Zealand is that these waiting lists will increase. We heard from the Royal College of Radiologists recently that there are significant delays to cancer care all year round, not just in winter, all year round, because of a lack of workforce.
Okay, thank you very much for being on the programme. You've certainly made your points.
She could have asked questions like, how, why is it, what do the members feel about this? She doesn't even know a fucking question about the members. About the doctors and nurses themselves. How she could give a fuck? You can fucking bitch at me all you want, but I'm not going to side with anyone who is against the unions. I'm just not. don't like being so absolutist on this, but if you're against the unions, you are wrong. I like, you can give me all the pay money. Fucking Rishi Sunak gets to have a load. The rich have been getting richer whilst these people have been having pay cuts. You can fuck right off.